At first, it feels electric. You meet someone who gets you, they like the same things, laugh at the same jokes, seem to understand your moods, your humor, your values almost instantly. It's rare, you think, to find someone who matches your energy this perfectly, who makes you feel seen, heard, known. But sometimes what you're experiencing isn't chemistry, it's mirroring, a tactic, not a connection. People with sociopathic traits are masters of impression. They watch, they listen, and then they reflect. Not because they're trying to bond, but because they're trying to win. They'll echo your language, adopt your interests, borrow your worldview, not out of shared belief, but because mirroring builds trust. It gives you the illusion of compatibility, of safety. And once you feel that safety, your guard comes down. You open up faster, you overlook red flags, you give more access, emotionally, physically, even financially. But here's the problem. What they're reflecting back isn't real. It's not them, it's you. And eventually, that illusion starts to crack. You might notice their opinions shift depending on who's in the room, that they tell different stories to different people, that their deep beliefs change based on convenience. You might think they're just agreeable, or such a people person. But behind that easy charm is a deeper truth. They're adapting strategically to gain trust, to stay in control, to get what they want. And when you start to feel confused, when the version of them you fell for begins to vanish, you'll doubt your instincts. Because how could someone so aligned with you become a stranger? That's the trap. The charm wasn't real, it was a performance, a mirror with just enough sparkle to keep you staring. Sociopathic charm isn't loud or aggressive, it's quiet, smooth, tailored just for you. And that's what makes it so dangerous. So if someone feels too perfect, if the connection feels too instant, pause, step back, ask yourself, is this person truly revealing who they are, or just reflecting who I am? Because sometimes the most dangerous people arrive dressed as soulmates. There's something magnetic about confidence. It draws people in, makes them lean forward, makes them listen harder. Because when someone walks into a room like they belong there, we believe them. And that's exactly why people with sociopathic traits use it so well. They don't just have confidence, they weaponize it. They speak without hesitation. They look you in the eye without blinking. They make bold claims, big promises, and sound completely certain, even when every word is a lie. And the scary part, we believe them. Because we're wired to trust certainty, to assume that someone who sounds sure must know what they're talking about. That's how sociopaths build power, not by force, but by presence. They don't second-guess themselves. They don't worry about being wrong. They don't wrestle with guilt, because deep down, they don't feel it the same way. Empathy doesn't slow them down. Doubt doesn't hold them back. Their charm feels effortless. Because it is effortless when you're not tied to conscience. And that's where things get dangerous. They can talk their way into relationships, into jobs, into trust, into leadership, not because they've earned it, but because they know how to look like they have. They can spin stories, rewrite history, shift blame, and do it all while looking calm, composed, and in control. But behind that confidence isn't depth, it's detachment. They don't connect. They calculate, they don't build with people, they use them. You may find yourself admiring their focus, their certainty, their ambition, but slowly you'll start to notice something colder. How easily they dismiss other people's feelings, how little they reflect on harm they've caused, how quickly they move on from consequences that would shatter most people. That's not strength, that's emptiness dressed in charisma. So if someone seems too composed, too slick, too unbothered by things that should matter, pay attention. Confidence isn't always a virtue. Sometimes it's a mask. And when there's no conscience underneath it, you're not dealing with charm. You're facing control. Vulnerability is powerful. It builds trust. It creates connection. It tells us this person is real. We're taught to value it, to open up, to believe that when someone shares their wounds, they're offering a piece of their truth. But in the hands of someone with sociopathic traits, vulnerability isn't a bridge, it's bait. They'll tell you stories that seem raw. They'll talk about a painful childhood, a cruel ex, a betrayal they supposedly endured. Their voice might tremble, their eyes might well up, and for a moment you'll think, they're just like me. That's the hook. Strategic vulnerability is not about honesty, it's about control. It's sharing just enough pain to make you drop your guard, to make you empathize, to make you excuse future behavior. You'll find yourself thinking, they've been hurt, so they just need a little extra love. Or, they've been through so much, I should be patient. But while you're offering grace, they're taking ground. They don't share to connect, they share to disarm, to earn your trust before you've had time to question them, to look human, without ever actually being accountable. And the stories they tell, they're often carefully edited, designed to cast them as the victim, the misunderstood, the one who's always been wronged. You'll notice that in every version, someone else is the villain, and they are just the one who got hurt. But watch what happens when you open up. When you share something real, do they meet you there, or do they redirect the moment back to themselves? Do they support you, or do they quietly twist what you shared into something useful later? That's the giveaway. Real vulnerability builds closeness. Strategic vulnerability builds control. So if someone reveals their deepest pain early on, but never shows consistency, empathy, or growth, step back. Listen closely. Ask yourself, is this story here to help me understand them? Or is it here to keep me loyal? Even when their actions don't match the words. Because when charm and manipulation collide, the first move isn't a lie, it's a confession, carefully chosen and strategically placed. From the outside, they're magnetic, polished, well-liked, maybe even admired. They charm strangers, win over rooms, impress bosses, make friends easily. They're funny, charismatic, the kind of person people describe as the life of the party, or a natural leader. But something strange happens when you move closer. You start to see the cracks, because people with sociopathic tendencies know how to build a public image, but not how to build true intimacy. Their charm is surface level, performance ready, calibrated for applause, not authenticity. And the people who know them best often say very different things. Behind closed doors, the warmth starts to fade. The compliments come with jabs, the attention turns into control, and the mood shifts quickly, quietly, without warning. You might catch yourself thinking, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm overreacting. They're so loved by everyone else, that's part of the manipulation. They build a flawless reputation, so that when you start to feel the harm, you second guess yourself. Because how could someone so admired be capable of cruelty? But this is how they stay protected. They create a cushion of fans and followers, so that if someone close to them ever speaks out, they won't be believed. Their social capital becomes a shield, their charm becomes camouflage, and it works. Until you look closely, you might notice that former friends don't talk about them. That exes vanish quietly. That coworkers who used to be close just disappear. And if you ask why, you'll hear vague answers. They were jealous. They were toxic. They couldn't handle the truth. Always someone else's fault, never theirs. But real character isn't measured by fans. It's revealed in quiet moments, in how they treat the people they don't need to impress, in how they respond when no one is watching. So if someone seems adored by the world, but leaves the people closest to them feeling confused, hurt, or silenced, it's not a coincidence, it's a warning, because charm may win the crowd, but character is what shows up when the doors close. This is where the charm becomes something darker, something more subtle, something harder to name. You start to feel off, but you don't know why. They're not yelling, they're not obviously cruel, they're still smiling, still saying the right things, but deep down something inside you is shrinking. People with sociopathic traits don't just manipulate your choices, they manipulate your reality. They say things that make you question your own memory. They rewrite events in their favor. They twist your words, then make you feel guilty for how you reacted. You start to wonder if you're too sensitive, too dramatic, too emotional, and the wildest part, through all of this, you still feel grateful to be in their orbit, because they know how to feed you crumbs of kindness in just the right moment. They give compliments after criticism, apologize without meaning it, pull you close right after they've pushed you away. It creates a cycle: confusion, relief, guilt, hope, you feel lucky when they're kind, you blame yourself when they're cold, you explain away the red flags because sometimes they're so wonderful. But this isn't love, it's control. You're not confused because you're broken, you're confused because you've been manipulated. And the most dangerous part of sociopathic charm is how invisible it can be. How long it takes to realize that someone has quietly rearranged the way you see yourself. They don't destroy you with force, they dismantle you with charm, with half-truths, with warmth that feels conditional, with praise that always comes at a cost. And by the time you start to feel the damage, you've already been trained to doubt your instincts. But you can break that spell, you can name what's happening, you can reclaim your voice, you can learn that true connection never requires you to shrink. You don't have to stay loyal to confusion, you don't have to feel grateful for survival. You deserve peace, you deserve clarity, you deserve to be seen, without being used.